Welcome back everyone, my name is Lee from Lee's Kitchen. Today we're making some low carb, high protein cottage cheese bagels. Don't they look good? So today we're going to make some high protein, low carb bagels. And we're going to cook these in the air fryer today, so it's going to be nice and easy. And this was inspired by the 2-ingredient cottage cheese bagel recipe, which was with self-raising flour and cottage cheese. But I like to try and make things low carb as possible, so I wanted to change things up and try this instead. So I've looked at a few recipes and I've kind of made up my own, and I'm just going to hope it works today. So here's the ingredients here, and we're going to go with it and see how it goes. So for the recipe, we're going to need 2 cups of almond flour. We're going to need a cup of cottage cheese. So if you can't get cottage cheese from your supermarkets, I'll post a link up below and show you how to make it. We've got 3 egg whites here. I've got 100 egg whites in my freezer from making ice cream, so that's why I'm going to use those today. I've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then I've got half a teaspoon of salt. Then I've got some sesame seeds for putting on top. All right, and one more ingredient, this is gluten flour. So this is going to increase the stretchiness of the actual dough, and it's going to make a much better texture. Now, if you're celiac or you can't tolerate wheat, leave this out. It's probably going to make a small difference, but I really want to play off this and see if it really makes a really great product. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to combine our cottage cheese and our egg whites together. Now, if your cottage cheese is a bit lumpy, you might want to put it through the food processor first and then add it. I made this myself only a few hours ago, and I don't think it needs to be processed or anything like that. So I'm going to add that to our bowl. Now it's really easy to make, so if you can't get it from the supermarket, definitely make it. Then I'm going to add our egg whites. And we're just going to stir this until all of that is combined, just to make it a lot easier when we add the flours. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of almond flour. And for some reason, Costco doesn't have the Kirkland brand at our Costco in Australia anymore. It's an Australian made one, which I'm not against or anything like that, but it's actually a really good product. Then we're going to add our 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half teaspoons of salt, and then our glutinous flour, which is completely optional, but I'm going to give it a go. So I'm just going to add like 2 tablespoons of this. Not a lot, because I just want to see how it goes. All right, so now we're just going to stir this until it's all combined. And it's going to look a bit dry for now, but that's just because the cottage cheese, it just needs to dissolve a bit more. All right, I've got clean hands. I'm just going to get in here and just try and combine it all together. And so to this, I'm just going to add just a little bit more almond flour. That's why I've left it out. And that's going to depend on any cottage cheese you use. So we're not kneading this or anything. I'm just trying to just get it into one uniform ball here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in this bowl, and I'm going to leave this for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back and then we're going to shape them. All right, so I've let that sit there for about 10 minutes now. So that should be a lot easier to handle. Let's just let all the liquids all absorb into the flours. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got my air fryer heating up to 175 degrees Celsius, and that is 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I've also got the tray for my air fryer. I'm just going to grease that with a little bit of olive oil. Love my oil sprayer, best thing ever. And then I've just got a plate here and I've got my sesame seeds and I'm just going to lay them out on there so we can dip our bagels into those sesame seeds. And now we're going to form our bagels. So this will make 6 bagels. That beat was my air fryer and that's just preheated. And you know, sometimes I feel like weighing. I don't feel like weighing today. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to squash these all into a ball. And then all we're going to do is we're going to flatten these out. And this is probably going to be the most complex bit. We're going to make the hole on each of these. It's actually easier to do it onto the bench, so keep that in mind, don't pick them up. Traditionally with bagels, I've seen how they're actually made and they actually don't make the holes. They actually use a rope of dough and actually do it that way. All right, so now I've got my bench scraper. Now, if you don't have a bench scraper, just use a spatula or something like that. I'm going to pick it up like so. And just push those sesame seeds into it. And then very carefully onto the air fryer tray. And if you're using a air fryer with like a, kind of like a drawer that you pull out, I would probably put parchment paper or something down the bottom of it to stop them from sticking or getting stuck into the actual grooves down the bottom of the actual rack. Mine is basically like a small oven, so that's great. So all I've done is just taken the actual rack out and using the bottom plate of it. And as I've gotten into this, it's a lot easier to actually handle. All right, and that is that. We're going to get them into the air fryer, 12 to 15 minutes at 175 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to see how they turn out. And there goes the timer. Let's check them out. So I did rotate these halfway through cooking. I'm going to be honest, I don't look like anyone else's photos, but they look pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these to a cooling tray. I'm going to let them cool down a bit and then we're going to try them out. Okay, definitely put the parchment paper down. All right, so let's dig into one of these. I'm going to try to slice one of these open. Now, I did look at a few other recipes and some other people, they tried doing a recipe with just almond flour and the cottage cheese. And I was like, this is not going to work. All right, so that's the inside there. Pretty much what you get with almond flour. You're not going to get like super springy. And also, I ate Costco bagels earlier in the week, so I kind of know what a real bagel is. This isn't going to resemble like the ultimate bagel from New York or whatever, but it could be a good alternative. So let's try it out. I'm just going to do some sour cream with this because I don't have any cream cheese. All right. Let's try it out. Overall, it has a really good texture. I think it's pretty good. I'd love to play with the gluten flour a little bit more, see if I can add a bit more. But overall, these are really good and they're going to be a delicious lunch for the next week. So I hope you give this one a go and I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.